Welcome to Masuwa Talk Show. My name is Enera. We look at the lives of African people and the doors of opportunities that have opened for them in their respective fields. We are live on ZimdiTV online, Masuwa with N Facebook pages. You can follow us, share, like, and comment. And remember to tell us where you are watching from. Today we are speaking to Mrs. Mendi Lerato Lusaba, the founder of Domestic Workers Association of Zimbabwe for economically disadvantaged women, and a social entrepreneur as well, and more. Kunjani, Sisi? I understand you're Ndebele, so I'm trying to speak a little bit of Ndebele.
You got 3 out of 4 on that one.
Thank you.
Yes.
So how do I say welcome to the show, Ndebele?
Sukiyamukele.
Sikuyamukele. Thank you so much for gracing us.
Thank you, my dear. Ngiyabonga.
Ngiyabonga.
Yes.
Okay, I need to come for lessons.
Please do.
So briefly, tell us, what is Domestic Workers Association?
Domestic Workers Association of Zimbabwe was birthed out of an organization that I run. As you said, rightly, I'm a social entrepreneur. I run Christian domestic placements. My license only allows me to recruit and place domestic workers. But I realized that once I had placed them, there was a lot of, things to be done thereafter, and nobody was taking care of such issues. And unfortunately, I couldn't do much officially just because my license was just ending at placement. So we birthed a Domestic Workers Association of Zimbabwe, where we are focusing on advocacy and capacity building of domestic workers. So it's just membership based, and it's entirely for domestic workers and on domestic worker issues. Specifically.
So you pay particular attention to women. Any particular reason why you chose women only? Do you also have male domestic workers?
Yes, we do, but it's more to do with our patriarchal society and our culture. The day-to-day household duties are normally left to the women folk. But I have other clients that prefer male domestic workers, and I have actually dealt with male domestic workers. And when we're talking about domestic workers, we're talking about the nannies, the cooks, the housekeepers, even the garden workers. So you see we also include males, but our majority and our main focus is women. Yeah.
Okay, so socially we know that men are not very domesticated in a way. Do you train them first to be able to take care of the children and maybe do all the housework?
The thing is, with the employment agents, when you see a male coming to register, with the employment agents, usually they are experienced and they're already trained, because it's not something that you can just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do this. So 3/4 or 99% of the time, I work with experienced males. So they'll be just looking for another placement once their other placement is, their contract has expired or their employer has moved. So most of the males are experienced.
Okay.
Yes.
So you train and then you place them.
Yes.
And some come in as already trained.
Yes. And then there are some employers that already have their domestic workers, but they notice a gap in their skills, whatever. So they come, and then we also offer training to already existing or already in the place domestic workers.
Okay. So domestic workers right now are paid, let's say, a monthly salary of about what, $70 per month. It's very little in this tight economic situation. Then they have to get, right now in Zimbabwe, they still have to get cash, and they have to pay an extra 20% to get their money. That is very difficult for them. So already from $70, it comes down to almost $50 or less.
Yes.
What do you think can be a solution to that?
You know what? The government has got law and legislation that covers domestic workers. Do you know that? But most people are not aware of that. There is a domestic workers legislation which is called the statutory instrument. It has a minimum of the salary that is supposed to be paid to the domestic worker, from $90 to $95 to $100, depending on the kind of work that they're doing. So we are not expecting anyone to be earning $70, but let's be realistic and let's be honest, it's happening. There are people there that are getting $70, and for them it's okay, and at times the employer actually is affording $70. Now this cash crisis has also affected the domestic workers a lot. They I do not want to use the term disadvantaged, but they are also disadvantaged because their workplace is also their home. They work there.
So they work there, they stay there.
They sleep there. Everything that they do, they're doing in one environment. So unlike some of us, we have to get into town. We see this opening, there's a cash here, there's a cash there, and you know, we are so interactive, but then the domestic workers, they're not so interactive. So most of the times they're really behind. So when you give them cash, eco cash, and you're supposed to give them off like on Saturday, she has little time to find cash. You get it? So it's a problem. But the other solution that most domestic workers are dealing with, they are most domestic worker employers, they are opening bank accounts, and we're actually encouraging that. We are actually encouraging that. You can just facilitate a bank account for your domestic worker, so she can just go and swipe. But eco cash is also needed because most of them, they need to send marikumusha and stuff like that. Yeah. But today I was talking to this particular lady. She was actually looking for cash, and I was saying, why are you changing your US dollars? And she was saying, I need to pay my domestic worker. I have to pay in cash. And I was like, wow, you're one in a few, why are you so concerned? And she was like, if I don't give you cash, you should not concentrate on your work because you'll be busy trying to find cash. So I might as well help you get that cash. Then both of us are happy.
So their solution is more inclined to their client, to the specific client.
Yeah.
And if they have, let's say, I don't want to use the word difficult, but if they have a client who wants them to be there full time, all the time, then how can it be solved? In as far as you as an organization is concerned, to try and curb for that problem?
Really, the challenge now is that it's a universal problem. It's not specific to domestic workers or their employers, but it's a national challenge. So as I said, if you can just go that extra mile, consider that you need your domestic worker to take care of your child from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and she has to be there at 12. Just go that extra mile and get her cash. If you can't get her cash, then at least facilitate opening a bank account for her. Bank accounts are now cheap. You can just like $2 to bond, then she gets a bank account. A bank account is very effective. If she wants to buy her groceries and stuff like that, then she can just swipe. So we encourage bank accounts. Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to read a few comments from our viewers.
Okay.
We have Talent Rupul. Hi, Anne, watching from Dubai. Thank you so much for watching. We have Jabulani Mandivei. You said hi, Anne. Hi, Beck. How are you? And then we have Jabulani. She said, what's up? What's up to you, Jabulani? Thank you so much for joining us. We have Tawa Miguel. Nice background. Great job, ZimdiTV. Thank you so much for joining us. And then we have Jabulani as well. He said, looking gorgeous. And thank you so much. And then Tawa Miguel, watching from Tete, Mozambique. Wow, thank you. Hello. How are you there in Mozambique? And then Talent Report says, thank you, and this show will change someone's life. Thank you so much, Talent, for watching. And then we have Tekmo Mazuruse. He says, loving this. Thank you so much. And we have Tariro Makanga, who just joined us. Thank you so much for joining us. Andrea R. Dube, she says, hello. That must be a guy. He says, hello. And then we have Clement Peter Mwengwa, Cape Town Fair. How are you? Thank you so much, watching from Cape Town. Thank you so much for joining us. So I would like to know, what criteria do you use to get the domestic workers? Do you have a specific criteria? I know you're getting the domestic workers that are economically disadvantaged. Do you have any other specifics?
Yes, actually, the nice thing about being a domestic worker is that we do not concentrate on your educational qualifications. Although we require basic, like, be able to converse in English. At times you get non-Shona speaking or non-vernacular speaking clients. So you should be able to have an alternative language to speak with them. But if you cannot converse in English, then it's okay. We'll place you in an environment where they do not require you to speak in English. But the main thing that we worry about is your criminal record. So we usually require that for every domestic worker that you're going to assist get a job, they should have a police clearance. Exactly. So that at least, because the employer is paying for that service, so she should be guaranteed that the person that I'm getting into my house is not a criminal. So basically, that's the main thing that we look at. We look at the criminal record. If you're cleared at the police and you have no criminal record, then we are at least satisfied. Then we also do like vetting process, like interview. You know, somebody, you can just tell from speaking with somebody that this person is very rude. And maybe it's because of experience. I can tell that this person is very good with old people. So in case there's somebody who wants somebody to take care of the elderly, I can tell that this person is very good with kids. So I actually take a note, very good with kids. Then there are some people that have experience working with expatriates. You know, expatriates, they also need specific services, specific personalities. So those are the kind of things that I also look at. It comes with the territory.
Have you ever turned down someone? Let's say you have. How?
I'm a very strict person.
I'm looking at it from the point that you also want to help people.
Yes.
Economically disadvantaged people. So they come in and they want something to be able to sustain their lives or to take care of their children. But in the process of you vetting them, you find out that, okay, this is not a particular person that I want at this particular time. How do you turn them down? And how does that work out? Do you give them alternatives?
You know what usually happens? I can tell from the beginning of a conversation or from the beginning of an inquiry that this person is not suitable. You know, when you're working with households, it's a very sensitive area. You're sending somebody to take care of somebody's most valuable assets, their kids. Most people that need domestic workers, they are looking for somebody to take care of their kids. So you can't just place anybody. So just from the introduction or from talking, somebody can be shouting at you, hello, hello.
You actually get that?
Yeah, I actually get that. Why are you not replying my SMSs? Stuff like that, you know. And I'm like, no, I can't. If I can't deal with you, if I can't deal with you at this level, you are likely to be a problem in the next process. And the thing that I like with my work is because I give them a process, go and get a police clearance, Maurice Depot. Most people do not like that process. People are lazy. So if I find somebody that is willing to go that extra mile to get a police clearance, then I know that person is committed. So on its own, it's just a screening criteria. If you are able to get your police clearance, then you're committed. Because I get so many inquiries. Tell them the procedure, then they do not come back to you. You get it? So, and most people say, hi, Ma'am Rewa, I'm looking for a job. You can go to your phone number. And I'm like, and the other thing, I never place a mate that I've never seen.
So you see them first and then you interview them and then they do the police clearance after that?
No, they do the police clearance first. I tell you what I require, like you come, you call or you come or whatever you do, I give you the requirements, then you can come, then we do the registration process. So the whole registration process involves me asking you a variety of questions. It also includes me training. So just from, I have to see you to appreciate the kind of person that you are and where you are most suitably to be placed. Like I said, like I can tell this person is suitable with babies just because I have seen them. So I never place a domestic worker that I've never seen. It's a must. I have to see you face to face, appreciate you, appreciate your background, appreciate everything. Then I can safely place you somewhere.
Yes. While we're talking about that, let's say the person has gone through your vigorous interviewing and they've passed. Then something happens.
Right.
Maybe a client complains about the domestic worker. It could be some form of abuse that is happening in the household. How do you deal with that?
The nice thing about this relationship is based on compatibility. You just have to click the two of you, or you have to compromise. But there are some scenarios which are totally unacceptable, like abuse. And then for the domestic workers, if they do anything like a criminal act or abuse their children, I actually tell the client, do not even waste your time calling me. If it's a criminal offense and it needs the police, first call the police, then you come and talk to me, then we can handle it. Something with the domestic worker, I do not tolerate abuse of any form, especially violence. I tell them, if your boss hits you, go to the police first, then you can come, then we can talk about it. Because we just have to protect each other. We have to protect the client. And I also have to protect the domestic workers. But the nice thing about choosing a third part is when they have challenges, instead of confronting each other, they can come to me. I try to mediate, try to see how best we can handle it, and it has worked in most instances. Like, you know, when a domestic worker has stayed, they usually lax a lot, their work diminishes. And there's some bosses that do not like talking a lot, so they just call me, and I just get my phone call, Auntie, what's happening? And she's like, you know, and some are not even aware that they're making mistakes. Yeah. So
until you intervene.
Yes.
Talk about it.
What's happening? It's like, thank you for mentioning it. I never thought I was doing something wrong. So at times, if you get a third part, it's easier, and I encourage people not to confront each other.
Any criminal cases that you have incurred? Let's we on the domestic worker side first.
Yeah, actually last week we were dealing with a scenario of, usually it's an issue of theft. Most of the times it's theft.
Is there investigations?
The clients usually just report to the police. But the other client I had that I dealt with an issue of theft, the nice thing is that they had CCTV. So you know, some employers, they have CCTV in their homes, and in that particular case they had 3 domestic workers, and money went missing, and like $300, and they did not know, they were not sure who took the money. So they went to the police office, and the sad thing at times is the person that you're thinking stole your money might not be the person who actually stole your money. And in that instance it happened. They reported to the police. Let's not talk about what happened to the police. They reported to the police. They thought Auntie B had done it, but I encourage them, guys, can you just check your CCTV first before you get Auntie B arrested?
Exactly.
And we are convinced it's Auntie B. We saw her picking apples into their basket and stuff like that. And I insisted on the CCTV. And when they went to check on the CCTV, it was Auntie C and not Auntie B.
And Auntie B,
police.
Oh, shit.
And at times, and the sad part in that scenario was, they loved Auntie B, and their children loved Auntie B, but the relationship was already, it was something else. So she could not go back to work because that element of trust has been lost. It had been lost. So she actually had to resign, but it was a sad scenario. So most of these issues are really there to do with theft.
Okay. Because I've heard a lot. Have you had issues like that where a client phones you? Do you have such cases, and how do you deal with those?
That's one of my favorite topics. That and the other one, which says, how do you address your domestic worker and how does she address your husband?
Exactly.
Those are two very interesting. So what usually happens, let me just laugh. The thing is,
because televisions, what when we had domestic workers, times issues around marital affairs.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? Because you are so how do you deal with that?
What we're actually doing at this moment is we're taking an approach of where we are saying, let's professionalize domestic work. The domestic worker themselves, they have to treat themselves as professionals. Know that I'm going to work, I'm waking up in the morning, I'm going to work just like a nurse, just like a teacher, just like a doctor. So you just have to be professional in everything you do. That's what we encourage. But getting back to your question, it usually happens on the inquiry, not after. You get somebody saying, I don't want a beautiful maid. It has happened.
And what defines beauty?
No, that's
do you actually ask them?
Have you ever seen my flyers? I place beautiful domestic workers, you know. No, I'm just trying to move from that misconception of saying a domestic worker has to look a particular look. You get it? Yeah. No, I'm trying to move from that. Let's treat it as a profession.
It's a profession.
You can have it as a, you know, as a domestic worker, but she still can look nice. She still can carry a handbag. She can still dress. So, yes, we get some women that are not comfortable with beautiful domestic workers. But you know, it's discrimination, but there's little that you can do about it. And I don't know, then there's this clip that says you get it? Makeup. You get it? But you know what? I've been to my musha this.
So you actually go kumusha monochaga.
No, because I need
according to the client specifics.
Not really, because I need to see them in person. Remember, I said that. So most of the time, it's people that have their relatives around. They come. I've got my cousin who's coming from Kumosha and she's looking for employment. What? You get it. So then we see them and we refer them. And then the other issue that I was telling you about, the mothers, the mother boss themselves, they do not like. They're not comfortable with the domestic workers calling their husbands daddy.
Hands to no one for no
I don't know. Baba Tino, Baba Taku, Baba Eni, or something like that. Show is even worse. Show is even worse.
So they have to, obviously, you cannot push under when you're working for someone. You have to adhere to the rules and regulations.
Yes.
And dressing wise?
I 100% encourage the domestic workers just to wear their uniforms. Some might not like it because it seems degrading, but we are learning to appreciate the uniform.
Yes.
It reduces a lot of problems.
Yes.
You will not be told that you're wearing a see-through. You're not told that your uniform is too short. You're not told your hair is too beautiful today. And you want, the other challenge is relatives that actually come in, they visit. My Tanaka, do you get it? The relatives, the friends. Exactly. That's the impression you get it. So there's a lot of cultural and social connotations that come around with domestic work and domestic workers. But I'm glad to say that I've noticed that there are a number of women that are changing their view. I actually had one client that took one domestic worker because she was smartly dressed. You get it? And she said, I like that one. She's organized, she knows what she's doing. She was, wearing smartly, looking pretty, so confident and everything. And she was like, I love that one. Can I have that one? Because she's organized, you get it. So in this day and age, there are also women that prefer the modern looking domestic worker.
Okay, I'm just going to go to the questions quickly again. We have Ben Como. He says, write a letter to Minister of Finance and tell him about the situation. Our is at please, Enmira. I'm not sure of what you wanted to say exactly, but I think you were saying that I should write a letter to the Minister of Finance and tell them about the economic situation. Thank you so much, Ben, for your comment. Thank you for tuning in. We also have Moses Ufumeli is watching us. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Ben. He also said N can easily write to Chihuri and get you a police clearance. Talk to her about that. Thank you so much, Mr. Ben Koma. Thank you for joining us. We have King Chipara, Makachena Vanatete. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. King. And then he also says, Kudada chete mama anoshandirwa ngava wanenguva nana baba not kungogara vachituma mamaid zvese. Thank you so much for your contribution, and thank you so much for joining us. We're still talking to Mendy. Yes, you were telling us about the situations that are happening in the household, and obviously the clients having specific people that they want as domestic workers, and you were talking about their dress code.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to know, I think the viewers would also like to know, do you now have any cases of women who actually came to you to say,
fortunately, no.
Not yet.
If they had any scenarios, then they didn't communicate. No. And the other thing is, before they go to work, we actually do that talk, as I was telling you about. That training.
Do you also train the clients?
No, the client not really, because the needs they differ. Each household has got its own rules, so we just equip the domestic workers just to give them the basic, on how to start. But each household has its basic, it's different rules, set of everything. I do not go that far. So I just prepare for work, the basic things and everything. Then Mrs. Chuma would come and tell you, you don't have to pick in for me, no don't have to pick a joke, no they actually buy you a uniform.
The specific
length.
Okay. All right. And we also have had cases here, my clients who abuse the domestic workers.
Yes.
Any particular cases that you can maybe talk about?
Yes, I had one lady. She was disabled. She had one leg shorter and one leg long, and there's this discrimination that comes with disabled people. the moment that they would see her, they would assume she is not capable of doing her duty properly. But the nice thing with that lady, she was very good. She could do her work beautifully. So I decided, instead of giving her a full-time job, then we could be busy placing her at part-time jobs where she just go in for the day, and it worked beautifully. And so one day when she went to this household, actually it was for the interview, and the lady had the audacity to comment and insult her based on her disability.
Oh no.
Yes. And she called me back and said, you see, remember what happened? This lady commented on my leg. You're disabled. You know, just some nasty stuff that I can't even repeat.
How did you deal with that?
I just told you, just pack your bags, go. Even if she says she wants you, you're not going back. And I told the client, I'm not happy with what you did to Auntie C. You can't say stuff like that. And that was that. She never, communicated, and I vowed myself that I would never give you any domestic worker. Yes.
Okay. We're just going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Come in. Hello.
Hi.
Interview, hey?
Yes.
Please take a seat.
Hello?
Hello, sir. The person is here.
Okay, just bring her in.
Okay, sir. Are you feeling hot?
For gorgeous, elegant, and astounding look, modern women now use Pretty Women Cosmetics. Visit us at the following Pretty Women Cosmetic outlets: Corner Angwa Street and Speak Avenue, Corner Nelson Mandela and Park Street, and at Corner Mbuyanehanda and Speak Avenue in Harare. Pretty Women Cosmetics, where beauty begins.
Welcome back to Masuo Talk Show. Today we are speaking to Mrs. Mendi Lerato Lusaba, the founder of Domestic Workers Association of Zimbabwe. Feel free to comment on ZimdiTV online live and tell us about your personal experiences as well as a domestic worker, as a landscaper, or as a client. And now we're talking about the clients and the domestic workers and the issues that the domestic workers have gone through in as far as maybe abuse is concerned, any particular issues that you had to intervene in.
Yeah. You know, this relationship is not on a fair scale. There's somebody that is disadvantaged, and usually it's the domestic worker. They do not have that power. They're looking for the money. They're looking for the job. They need to be paid. So usually they're at the mercy of the employer. So mostly people talk about the bad things that the domestic workers do, but nobody has ever really thought about the bad things that the client does to the domestic worker. But in reality, there are a lot of issues. And this is why we're having the Domestic Workers Association, because more often than not, the domestic worker does not know who to approach when they face certain challenges. Like, this is your first time. You don't even know to get a problem, whom do I approach? Our essence as the Domestic Workers Association is not really to go alone. We can't do it alone, you get it. We are just this organization that can do with domestic workers. But there's the National AIDS Council, which is specifically for HIV/AIDS related issues. So if we get a domestic worker that comes, we're looking at these kind of partnerships. We need to create relationships with other organizations that might have interests or issues that really affect domestic workers. We're supposed to establish a relationship with the police department. There's that victim-friendly unit. Most people think it's also for kids, but you know, there's a domestic worker who has been sexually abused, and they do not even know what to do. They call us. We call our partner in the ZTRP. We've got this scenario. Can you assist? We also have like trade unions for domestic workers.
Have you had a case? So you've had a case where a woman was sexually abused by the client?
They do not really talk about it, but I'm convinced it happens.
How do you encourage them to talk about it?
That's
because
the thing.
those are very pertinent issues.
Yes, these are the things that we create awareness. Like, there can never be a male who makes a mistake of knocking on, just coming into your bedroom and says, "Ndapinda by mistake." You get it. And it happens 6 times and you keep him quiet. But you get it.
That actually happens?
That happens. Stuff like that. He's drunk. And why does Baba always have to make a mistake of Punovaradora auntie? One thing I've noticed about guys that drink, why would you go to bedroom and you to travel all the way like from 25-30 kilometers or now all of a sudden you just want So what I'm saying is we are not really we can't, but we are looking at creating a network, a platform when such problems happen. If there are specific organizations that tackle specific scenarios, specific challenges that domestic workers face, can we at least work together? ITA underpayment, this is another sensitive issue. Yes, you know, and most of the domestic workers are going 4 months as no badar.
Really?
Yeah, that's happening. That's a thing that's happening. Nasta shared my discussion with the other girls.
What measures have you taken right now? Because we're already counting 4 months.
Yes, 4 months.
So what have you done so far?
The thing is
to help the domestic workers.
It's not us who are supposed. We can just advise you on what you're supposed to do. But you can you should be willing to go. Yes, they need. If you want to do something about it, we do not really encourage litigation because we do not want you to have nasty experiences and everything. But scenarios, this is not tolerable. There's the union, the domestic workers union. I'm in good books with the guys there. If you want, you can just go and report your scenario of domestic. There's the labor offices. They actually handle a lot of domestic worker cases. But I'm saying we do not really encourage because we do not want sour relationships. But if you see that you cannot really afford to pay your domestic workers, 4 months, just let it go and find another solution, and we are checking basa somewhere else.
Do you perhaps do rounds and visit the places of work and see what domestic workers are, or you wait for them to actually report to you? Do you get to them? Because maybe and I have kids to take care of. So what do I do? So do you actually go to the sites and see maybe get counselors involved?
The thing, remember when I said this is a complex relationship. Where the domestic worker is working, it's also somebody's private household. You can't just come in
just get in.
matching. This is why you're saying if it's a scenario you're putting my challenges, you just direct you to the relevant authority. Then they know how to handle it. Warohwa, it happens. Somebody slaps you. You get it. They call. If I can talk to the employer, I can talk to the employer. And stuff like that. But you can have the police directly straight to the police. You get it. So in as much as we try to intervene, we are not supposed to over-intervene. If you get what I'm saying. This is a relationship and a contract between two people. A contract signed between two people. We are a third party. We can't just come in and force and match ourselves. But we have to work with both sides. employer that will challenge, I'm having this challenge with my domestic worker. What can I do? Mukandi basiro shimu kono tarona wa then like if we have dealt with it. No. Kanoma anenga shona kuti she is good, but I'm going to challenge in a specific area. And you know, there are a lot of stresses these days.
Yes.
And you do not really talk to her. But if you give yourself some time to interact with the domestic work, also going to stress and you know, that's another sensitive issue. And the kids are being abused because mama and most of these women are single women, widows and single mothers. So they've got a lot of issues that they need to deal with, but at the same time they have to smile and take care of your kids. But there are also people with challenges, with issues. So you should be able to talk to them, understand what they're going through. Can I say that Buffalo might be a result of putting my hands in the school fees? As simple as that.
So my cases are that my mention issues I'm not going to because of some personal issues that they're having. Have you had cases, because Tanganzo, even my cases ekuti momoyo wakapesa bana nokutanga atamwiswa na mai vavemumba ataza kuchina zvakanaka. We have cases yema garden boy wovanenga vachi piwa ai na mama.
Yes.
How do you deal and handle that? Do you wait for them to actually come to you, and if they don't come to you, what happens?
Like for instance, if they don't come to us, then we don't know about it. What can we do? What you don't know, there's nothing that you can do it. So what you usually try to encourage is for them to talk about these issues. Like we have WhatsApp group Prima Domestic Workers, believe it. We do a lot of interaction and talking. And my man garana shuwa 3 slices to chinga. Osera mwana yogurt banana nema apple. Inindonzi svika lunch. But so what will happen in that scenario is 3 slices to tingwa chibera mwana achiruma banana indishijinga banana mwana achiruma yogurt. They actually say it, you know. It's, and I'm thinking in this day and age urukusiya measure somebody who's taking care of your child chikafu.
They need, and it's physical work.
It's physical work, and it's my own little N. I have a daughter, remember?
Yes.
She is just a hassle. On my own numboti, can somebody just take care of my daughter? Come holiday, I transfer them to my mother because I can't even handle my own daughter. Now imagine somebody having to struggle with my little N. How much of a hassle is that? Then just don't overthink these things as a client. Just leave it to it, you know. Because in the end, you get more out of it than slices of chingwa, slices of sugar. And you never find out which one again. That's the sad part about it. Of course, we don't encourage that.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about things that actually happen. She's hungry, there's a banana there.
Yes.
She'll definitely that banana.
Yeah.
You get it. And then there's some, I have had a scenario of an HIV positive domestic worker. In Zimbabwe, you're not allowed to disclose your status to anybody. So you can't disclose your status in a condition you're a domestic worker.
Okay.
And some, they do not even disclose to their workers, to their employers. And most employers are not comfortable having HIV positive
person in
the house. But
how do you deal with such a sensitive issue right now?
But in real, it's a difficult one. I'm not an expert, but I would love the experts to handle it. But the thing is, it's a reality. Most of these are widows. They're singles. You don't know what happened. And they're taking their medication. You get it. And they need to eat food. I had one calling me saying, you know what? I need to take my medication, but I'm not getting enough food. Like if you try to talk to your employer, but I don't know, you get it. When the scenario is that bad, or alright, just try and buy your own ones away or your own maputi, keep in your own room on a cottage, then supplement yourself, then also you interest rate. But we just encourage you to treat her as a decent person. But as a Zofile, you know. And there are some that don't really mind. I've met very wonderful employers, and that was what mine is on medication. They monitor no pure your medication. Are you eating well? is your health okay and everything like that, but there is still that element of discrimination. Vamwana tongorova inonzi visual memory vamunamandi tumirayo yanomira
Visual scanning, medical scanning.
just ngona kuti munhu amanitumirayo ane she's not looking good.
Votoramba.
Ungamanikiza. But there's some that don't really mind. So it's an issue that's close to my heart about how clients treat domestic workers. You get it? There are a lot of things that go wrong. Do you know that even my couples that are fighting, it's usually the domestic worker that's caught in between. I actually had one scenario. The mother and the father, they were having the mother and the father, they were having marital problems, and they had 2 young primary kids. So they would fight physically, and the domestic worker would be in between trying to run with her. You get it? Or in some instances, baba na mama, Vana, the only person that they can run to is the she. Which is auntie bedroom and stuff like that. And apana manombo what there's a third person that's being affected by this scenario. You get it? And then when you through auntie, musawa baba takudzwenyu. You get it? Almost what is salary wakupiwa na baba chido. So she's
my salary will split between the two.
You get it? Almost this month which na mining, na mining, you get it. And then varipama scenarios they are the most sensitive because when you feel ravana. And you know, with my issues in my marriages, people don't talk about them. Saka I'm dead serious that's repeating, and the domestic worker is the only person that's aware. Exactly. Kuti add the mind, they are so sensitive, kuti vana to sarava chita say. You get it? So they also need counseling. That's what I'm saying. This domestic worker, they need counseling.
So it's a domestic worker. I don't want to say but because like you said, you know, I'm a third party and I cannot get involved. But it's affecting her as well. Do you allow them to come to you now and say, because domestic worker are witness. So can they come to you with such an issue? What happens? And what do you do about that?
When they come, there's a difference. When they're coming to tell us this issue, are they coming to tell us in their own personal capacity the challenges they are facing and how they can handle it? That's as far as we can go. You get it? And that time in the situation then we try to find how best can you deal with this you know, just on her part. Stress management, Yako, do not take sides, you get it? Do not intervene and stuff like that, because this is another part totally
different from what you are here for.
Exactly.
Okay.
I am here for the domestic worker. I'm trying to assist the domestic worker in this particular scenario. But then ish aunere anti vakamboya kumba vanoziva that anongofonera kuti anti I'm worried about the situation kumba baba na maitino and stuff like that. But our job is not to intervene in any household. We want these people to be happy, the employer, and we also want the domestic worker to be happy. We do not want to you know, get in between them to meddle in their issues, no. But we just want to help the employer when she has an issue. We also want to help the domestic worker when they have issues in their individual capacity. Yes.
Do you think you're getting enough support right now from other organizations?
Yes, it's relevantly a new organization. You get it? As I said, I've been working as a placement agent, and I'm still doing that. And this association came as an afterthought and everything, when I realized there is specific need for these issues to address these issues. Exactly, like the bank issues. I can liaise with the bank. Can you assist us open accounts on Saturday or on Sunday? So basically we're just looking for partnerships. I'm happy to say that I've conversed with the Minister of Labour. She's very supportive, and we'll be meeting, but she's very supportive. Last week I also had I attended a forum for the NASA, National Security, let me not you know NASA?
Yes.
Okay. Not the abbreviations.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
NASA. They're actually working on something that are working. And I was so impressed because they're also considering the domestic workers.
That's great.
Exactly. So they invited me to represent the domestic workers and also to come with the domestic workers to get their opinions on that kind of package that they want to produce. So yes, we're trying to work with as many different departments as possible.
Tell us more about some of the projects that you have done in as far as the Domestic Workers Association is concerned to support this initiative.
Don't forget that it's new, so
Yes.
we are still getting inroads. But I've actually also got an interesting call last week from a lady in Chivu Unyatu. She was saying, it was actually from our poster. She was saying,
Oh, the poster for Masuo talk show.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
She was like, I love what you guys are doing. I'm working with women in Chivu, like most young women that dropped out of school,
Yes.
and they're single mothers, and they think that they cannot do anything. Will you be interested in working with us as a community and help these ladies? And I'm like, it's fine. I can come to Onyetu, train them, give them opportunities, and work as domestic workers. I've been to Hopley sometime, but it was a church training, because training is one of the channels that we can use. I've been to Hopley before to talk to a group of women, and some of them were saying we were domestic workers before, and after our chat, our training, they were like, I can make a living out of this. This is a good option. And yes, it's a good option. We allow them, we say, please just consider it. Treat it as a formal employment. And the main thing that I want to, or we are planning to do, is to go through churches. You get it? With churches, on Thursday or on Saturday, then we can be training them on domestic worker relationship. Talk about what the law says. What are my challenges as domestic worker? What can you do? If they have any questions, you can assist each other. And then if they also have domestic workers in the church that we can also talk to, I find it's easier to get in through the church, the community leaders, the church. And we're hoping to work with corporates. You get it? It's difficult, but corporates, you get. I'm like, domestic workers use cooking oil every day, and I'm like, Pudro, can we just liaise? Let's create some partnership, train the domestic worker on how to use the cooking oil. Those are I'm just giving you an example.
Okay.
You get it? We have got Vano Gadzirama Futa Ebuzoravana. I don't want to call it for it's a brand. Petroleum jelly. We say they use petroleum jelly not on the babies. They use diapers. Can we create a relationship? And the other thing, I was talking again to the guys that do with gas. You know, most people are using gas, and you're taking Auntie K from who has been using firewood. And I've had 2 scenarios where domestic workers have burnt down houses
The entire house
because of gas. And we're just saying to gas companies, we can give you a platform. We have got a network of domestic workers. Just give us 3 hours, 4 hours, teach them how to
train
use
them.
just to train them how to use gas, because they're using gas a lot. So there are a lot of opportunities, and of course it's difficult to get there, but we are hoping that corporates are willing to get there.
That's amazing. You're also the CEO, as you mentioned, of Chris and Geo Domestic Workers.
Yes.
I was looking at the name. It looks like it's 2 names that are combined. Was that deliberate?
Yes, it was deliberate.
Okay. So what is Geo and what is Chris?
Many people always, they find it fascinating.
Yes.
They always ask, why Chris and Geo? And they always say, why not? Chris and Geo, like my mother is Christian, and Geo is for George, my dad. So it's Chris and Geo, it represents a family setup. So I found it befitting just to name this organization after my parents, because that's the family that I know.
Yes.
You get it? So it's Chris, Christian, Geo, and George. And the other thing is because we have got an organization that is representing females. Chris, Christian for the females, Geo, George for the males. So basically it's after my parents, but the whole thing behind it was, that's my family. And Chris and Geo is really, it has the family in mind. And it also looks at both the male and the female. So that's where Chris and Geo came from.
So what motivated you to start this organization and to start the company, Chris and Geo?
Yes, it's an interesting story actually.
Tell me about it.
Yes. When I got married,
You're married, you're Ndebele and you're married to a Shona husband, right?
Yes.
That's
So yeah, when I got married, you know what our culture does is unenda kumasungiro.
Yes.
My first child, I have 2 kids, Takomorero 5 and Annie Grace 3. Ndakaenda kumasungiro kumba and with my parents in Vero, and you know, I was just a young mother. I've never recruited a domestic worker my entire life. It was my mother's responsibility, but here I'm supposed to be having a domestic worker. And you know what? My tete from Chivu said, don't worry, I'll sort you out. They 9 months now, Kumba, they bring me a maid. She was 16 years old.
That young.
Yeah, that's young. But for them, they thought they were doing something good. And for me, I don't believe anything wrong at that time because I certainly enough for so. And the thing is, I was staying with my father-in-law. I love my father-in-law so much. He's such a wonderful man. So we were staying with my father-in-law, and I was staying with my father-in-law. That 16-year-old, she couldn't cope because I was going to work every day, living here with the baby. She couldn't cope. I can't go munda for Christmas, and she didn't come back. And I had to report back at work after such a long break. And she didn't come one day to get up bus. And for me to ask for an extension after 2-3 weeks of holiday, the bosses would say you're crazy. So I had to find a domestic worker as soon as possible. I called Auntie again. She got me another 17-year-old. Yes, it was okay. And I was, God forgive me, she can just accept this money. I think I had to change 4 domestic workers in a space of 4 months. And then no, it was my kid, my son.
Okay.
You get it. They couldn't. Was an experience. You get it. And it was unfair on them. It was so much was expected out of these girls. The pandas will realize now, no, let me change my formula. Oh, I had a domestic worker. You get it? But I get a papi. Don't get a foot to mama, don't get a foot to tete. And I realized that there was a gap in the market. And I have a background in human resources and labor law. So it just gelled and I was like, why can't they just create a platform here, put them on a domestic worker, as and when they need them, they can get them.
Yes.
And there are domestic workers that are basa, they don't even know where to go. So this NGO comes in, helping women, because for some reason domestic workers tend to disappear at that crucial time. You get it?
When you need them.
When you need them.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Okay, you talked about age. So right now, you mentioned that your first domestic worker was 16 years old. Right now, do you have an age restriction?
I don't place anybody under the age of 18.
Okay. Why? Is there a specific reason for that?
Yes, I meant a specific. You know what? Our law also, there's employment of young persons. I remember I have a little bit background in human resources and law. Apprenticeship, they of my 15, 16. You know, this Shanda and they pay and they what like and they like what. Most people like Wanawadiki because they say I want to go. But that she's still a kid, do you get what I'm saying?
True.
Yes, she still needs to grow. You get it? And at times they can't even protect themselves. You know, and Vamasha started better my life experiences. Some can't even, they don't even know where to report. And they still need time to grow and play. But you're expecting you to wake up at 4 or 5 or 6. Expect you to take care of my child. So I just don't place anybody at least 18, just be at least 18. But most of the time, the 20, 21, because allow the kids to grow. At least can happen or for now we can start talking. Because they are still kids. That's basically it.
So let's say you have my domestic workers who are tired of doing domestic work. They want to do more. Maybe azviendesa kuchikoro apedza form 4 yake kana kuti azviendesa form 5 form 6 achitrial pakushanda and they want to do more with their lives. Do you give them that allowance to say, all right, nguva yedu newe yakwana, it's okay, I can help you to get to the next level?
Yes. If you remember very well, we did a domestic workers convention, the first of its kind here, where we're just calling out my domestic workers in Zimbabwe. Like doctors, they have their conventions, marketers have their conventions. Like, let's have ours. We did. And you know, one question we asked those ladies, sumuzema huko akaenda kubasa huko just because Nora akakora achida kuita. Not even a thing it's said, but it's the truth. Apana kana wana kasunza kati ndozvo ndakakora achida kuita. Majority were like, nama yange andisuzvura ndikashauti ndita sereka ndikunoita chi mate umakati murume angasheka handisisina kana chi option. But we're also saying todawo munhu anotiona kuda kunoita a professional maid. And then you get to mumwe akatanga and akabva to decide that this is my career, chose. But I was chatting to you about one of my domestic workers, Aindi Shandraine. She was such a lovely young girl. She came from Kurungwe. I could not, she just said, Mami, I want to finish my studies. You get it? I'm like, fine. Chinyoresa English, Chinyoresa Maths. Of course, she had to juggle between the household and school, but we used to help her a lot. And because she was such a dedicated young lady, she passed. A person now, she had no idea what to say. But in the passer form for young later say. And then I saw an advert, Victoria Falls Safari Lodge. And I just like, you go and get an apprenticeship later. Can I wait what you then start applying for an apprenticeship job? So I got days of interview. I actually wrote and recommended them. Could you please, this is my domestic worker. Do consider I got your application. So she was called for an interview. To cut the long short story, she graduated recently. As a professional cook, she's now a chef at. You actually get a lot. I'm here as a gap.
But I'm not staying here. Which is the right attitude.
Yeah, which is the right attitude. I also have another one that in Hatfield. She went. She got herself a driver's license, not put any motor or anything, but she just wanted a driver's license. She got herself a passport. Because she was determined to get herself a passport, she actually did herself a course cutting and designing. So we also encourage the domestic workers to develop themselves. But then there are others who say, I am there to stay. It's still
and they love what they do.
They love and vanazhinji vanoda munhu anogara pabasa, you get it. But ukaona munhu ane potential akatadza mari akashayawo mari yokuti aende kuchikoro, just encourage them. I've got another one here, you know, akapasa form 6 yake, but she totally has nothing and was like, it's okay, V, take on some adverts who will try. And this is the other thing you want to do as an association. Kutonoti, there's some advertise an apprenticeship. We have this girl, she's interested. Can you also consider? Not put a military favor or anything, but just consider she's disadvantaged and you know, and stuff like that, just to help them to elevate them to the next level.
We always support expansion of businesses beyond just Zimbabwe and beyond Africa. Do you have any plans to go beyond Zimbabwe right now?
Yes, we do. And you know what? There are so many Zimbabweans out there. And one thing that I have noticed for so many Zimbabweans out there, they want Zimbabwean domestic workers because they want to maintain their culture, to teach their children in a foreign language, in a foreign, environment. I'm not sure that I'm trying to shown UK, but I'm looking for somebody from Zimbabwe. And stuff like this, something that they're not getting in their school. Stuff that they are not getting. But I'm quite sure everybody's aware of the Kuwait issue and the Kuwait saga, abuses. I'm hoping, I'm praying, if we can work around with the Ministry of Labour, how best we can handle such scenarios. Because I've got so many people outside Zimbabwe who want a domestic worker. But you know what, South Africa, for instance, has got legislation that covers you to get a foreign domestic worker. If you can do it legally, procedurally, okay, then there's no problem. But it's really my challenges, especially when it comes to human trafficking. Then what's next? But I've had another client, she's my favorite client, Michelle. She went to UK and she took a domestic worker with her. I got a domestic worker visa to UK. So we are trying to work around such. Then they can get the Zimbabwean domestic worker. It works both for the domestic worker and for the client.
Yes. Here in Zimbabwe, you're in Harare. In what other cities?
Mainly my operations are in Harare. Mainly they're in Harare. But slowly we are infiltrating other cities because Hakuna Kusina a domestic worker. Yeah.
And any particular complaints I saw it earlier? Any one or two complaints that you received that were very, very huge? Can you just give us an example of that?
One that comes into my mind is at one point we had this couple that had moved from Europe. It was a Zimbabwean guy who had married a foreigner, and they had their foreign. I don't want to say foreign kids, but yes, like mixed kids. So they were relocating back to Zimbabwe. Now the challenge is, I don't know how they had known about pornography. You get it? And they were trying to do whatever they were doing. It was a small kid, I'm saying less than 10 years. You get it? And then my challenges are auntie, try to grab auntie, can we kiss?
Because of what he had seen.
I don't know. I don't know. But
probably social media.
Yeah, but that's what the kid was doing. And this auntie of mine, she was worried. Then she called Data Challenge. Mana is making advances, bandiri, and stuff like that. And the greatest challenge was if she explains that to anyone, who would believe you? Could a 9-year-old say, come, let's kiss, come, let's grab, come, chichi. And I was like, you have tried to try and talk to the kid, because you get it. And later she gave me a feedback with others who told her the mother-in-law. And the mother-in-law was saying, actually, it's not result any of that problem. You get it? So this is where I was saying we need to encourage communication. You get it? Yeah, it was wrong. But the family knew what this child was doing. Everything. These ones, they to reprimand him. Don't do that to auntie. Don't do that. But it was a big sensitive issue. Imagine yeah, that's one example. I think I'll stick with the one.
Thank you so much for gracing us today. We have learned a lot, and I hope the viewers have also learned a lot today. We have been talking to Mrs. Mendi Lerato Lusaba, the founder of Domestic Workers Association of Zimbabwe for Economically Disadvantaged Women and Men. She has created employment for over 200 financially disadvantaged women, impacting over 500 families and still counting. And she has hopes to expand beyond Zimbabwe into Africa. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
One time.
Come in. Hello.
Hi.
Interview, hey?
Yes.
Please take a seat.
Hello?
Hello, sir. The person is here.
Okay, just bring her in.
Okay, sir. Are you feeling hot?
gorgeous, elegant, and astounding look, modern women now use Pretty Women Cosmetics. Visit us at the following Pretty Women Cosmetic outlets: Corner Angwa Street and Speak Avenue, Corner Nelson Mandela and Park Street, and at Corner Mbuyanehanda and Speak Avenue in Harare. Pretty Women Cosmetics, where beauty begins.